struggled with finding a research topic, and it was actually through a podcast that I started thinking about personality disorders. I had talked to my mom about it since she's a therapist, and I later found out that these people have been around me my entire life. The most prominent of the disorders being a narcissist and someone with BPD, or borderline personality disorder. I found it fascinating as the pieces of the puzzle slowly fell into place. The more I learned, the more behaviors started to make sense. There were repeated behaviors that I had just never noticed before. Borderline disorder is one of the most severe personality disorders and is the most common. However, awareness for BPD is few and far between. The lack of awareness and research of this disorder leads those with BPD to unstable and toxic relationships or situations, and may be susceptible to be taken advantage of by narcissists. So, what is BPD? This personality disorder is like a spectrum, borderline being the most severe and the most common. Those with BPD crave a level of loyalty and affection that isn't humanly practical. Borderline is very uncommon to the general public and tends to latch on to most well-known mental issues such as anxiety, depression, PTSD, etc., and has recently become a nationally recognized issue. Inconsistency is the hallmark of BPD. Now in comes the narcissist. Narcissists have a need to care for someone, which leads to manipulative and emotionally draining relationships. The love and protection they show for another person is possessive. Narcissists appear to be charismatic and almost have a magnetic personality. However, it's because of how they display themselves. Narcissists are closed off and refuse to let anyone know that their life is less than perfect. Not only borderliners fall victim to the narcissist's manipulative ways, their overall demeanor makes them appear to be the ideal partner, and even someone with a constant crave for attention and closeness can still fall in the narcissist's trap. It becomes a matter of taking off the rose-colored glasses, because it allows you to see that person for who they are rather than the character they want you to see. Taking off the metaphorical glasses allows you to understand that narcissists aren't looking for partners, just obedient admirers. I've asked myself multiple times why narcissists and borderlines fall in love. It seemed like a groundbreaking question in my mind, but the answer is really simple. Even though the relationship is very toxic, both parties still receive something they crave. Yet the question still remains, why are they attracted to each other in the first place? Borderlines constantly have a feeling of being incomplete. Therefore, when the narcissist, a person who appears to be perfect, they see everything they aren't and can't be. Both have problems with what psychotherapists call whole object relations and object constancy. This is the ability to see both the good and bad in a person and accepting both. Those with BPD and NPD lack this ability. Borderlines become target under these circumstances. Although the relationship is doomed from the beginning, it's very uncommon for these two to split up. Their symbiotic relationship is a toxic, endless cycle. Likewise, the borderline can't leave them because they're being taken care of, and no one else will put up with them. BPD has been extremely difficult to diagnose in the past because someone with BPD displays mannerisms that coincide with many different disorders, which is why it was given the name borderline. This relationship is something I've witnessed firsthand without even knowing it. In learning these two types of people, it seems like they would be very easy to spot because of their drastic behaviors, but that simply isn't the case. The average person can recognize that something is off with these types of people but can't quite place it. It's like an itch you can't scratch. The borderliner appears to be bipolar, while their actions and emotions drastically change from one moment to the next, and the narcissist just radiates charisma. While researching these two disorders, I ended up having more and more questions, such as can a child be diagnosed with personality disorder? After consulting my parents, I found out that while personality disorder traits can show up in children, they're rarely diagnosed with those disorders. It's because of brain development. Where my dad works, since he's a case manager for children, they often joke about how teenagers are bipolar. Yes, those traits do show up, but it's due to hormone fluctuations as the body and the brain finish developing. This research has opened my eyes to the world and the people around me and has allowed me to make sense of behaviors I've been around my entire life, instead of thinking, oh, that's just them. But now I can better sympathize with people and their own experiences. I hope that through more awareness and research, the stigmas around personality disorders can be alleviated, as well as we all become a little bit more aware of the people around us, because you never know what they're going through behind closed doors.